How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? And yes, the time has come. I decided not to take a break and just go right on to working on this next video. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories Reverse/Rebirth. We have concluded Sora's adventure, and we still have one character to play in this game before it is completed, and that is Riku. Yes, the real Riku was in Castle Oblivion during the time that Sora was in there, and now we get to see what exactly he was going, what was going on during his time down there. So, I wouldn't necessarily say bored, but I'm just like, you know what, I'd rather just get started on this now, because, like I said, this is an entirely new kind of like Let's Play, a little bit different than what I handled with Sora's, but still towards like the last episode of Sora's, you guys kind of figured out what exactly I was going to do differently. And just to reiterate again, since this is the start of Riku's story, Riku's story is going to be very condensed. I'm going to be cutting out a lot, and you're going to be seeing a lot of cuts in this playthrough of his story. And basically what I mean by cuts is that you're not going to be seeing any level grinding. You will not see any level grinding at all because, again, with Riku, you don't customize his deck. He gets a set deck given to him with all the new worlds that he goes into. So there's no customizing, there's no different really, there's no unique moves to Riku's gameplay besides what you get a little bit later that I'll explain later on in this part. But other than that, what I'm going to do is, like you're seeing right now, you're going to see story, you're going to see me going into the world, you're going to see me do one battle in that world, and then I'm going to cut to the story elements that are present in that world. Now, what's interesting about this episode is that this is really the only world where Riku will actually get all three of those golden room cards. After that, he just gets the key to beginnings, and then that key of beginnings is just a boss room. So it's literally like that's really it. That's all Riku has in those worlds. Besides this world and the last three worlds, there's really no story elements. I'm going to be cutting a lot of stuff here, so there's going to be no level grinding. You guys will see me from one level, and then when we jump to the next part, you'll see some of my stats go up, but that's just how it's going to be because, again, I can keep the episodes kind of smaller, but you still are getting all the necessary information that you want to get. So now let's start off with the story. So after the events of the first game, Riku wound up in this kind of realm of sleep, and this mysterious voice is telling him that he can get out of it, but you'll never be able to return to this sanctuary of sleep. So he gives him the Hollow Bastion card, and now Riku has been teleported to Castle Oblivion. The basement of Castle Oblivion, mind you. Yeah, Riku is not on the first floor. Riku is actually in the basement, and you'll kind of notice, too, at the bottom right of the screen, once we cut to gameplay, it's going to say B12. Riku only has 12 floors, I believe. He doesn't have 13 because we do not go to 100 Acre Wood in Riku's story, so that's why he only has 12 rooms instead of 13. But yeah, you'll see right in a second here at the bottom right of the corner, B12 entrance hall. So we are in the basement. So Riku is going out of the basement where Sora was just moving higher up into the castle. I mean, we're still going higher up, but you're starting from the basement as Riku. So let's kind of discuss what you'll be seeing in this episode today. This is just the introduction episode. We're doing all this crazy stuff over again. Just playing as Riku, but with a lot of cutting. And this entire video will be based on Hollow Bastion. It's the first world that the mysterious voice gives him. So that's where we're going to go and proceed. And then Riku is going to learn that the cards that he goes through are basically just recreations of what he's seen through his memories. And that's what it's going to be explained to him very soon. But again, it's just like with Sora's story. You don't actually explore the worlds like they originally purposed in the other games. It's just random generated rooms, yada, 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 so on and so forth. But now I'll kind of start to talk about the kind of differences that go along with Riku's story. with Riku is a little bit different than Sora. One, he doesn't use the Keyblade. He uses a bat-winged sword called the Soul Eater. And Riku levels up differently than Sora. It's the same way where, you know, he gets, like, these little gems. They level him up, but he gets different perks. He can increase his health like Sora, but he can also increase his attack power, and then later his darkness meter. And we'll get into that a little bit towards the end of the episode when we actually unlock that. But for right now, we can unlock health and attack power. Alright, so for this first world, we are back in Hollow Bastion. So now what you'll see me fight one group of Heartless, and then we're just going to cut to story. We're just going to keep things moving right along. But this way you can see Riku perform in all the different worlds. And keep an eye on the health, so you'll notice how drastically the health changes during this this playthrough. Yep. And his deck is just preset for him, so I don't have to do any customizing. He's pretty fast, though. He's a lot faster than Sora. And I kind of do like that about him. And your card decks will change with every single world you go into. That is something that I do like with Riku, is how he's a lot faster, so you can take out a lot of enemies quick. Yeah, and I would just say pay attention to the health bar, because you'll notice when we make the next cut how it's drastically different. We can increase health or attack. So I'm going to do health for my first one, I guess. And cut! Yeah, look at that. Okay. So now we're at Riku's Key of Beginnings. I will say, though, I capped off at level 10 for Hollow Bastion. That's how far I got for, like, getting up levels. And now this mysterious voice is just still kind of reminding Riku of some of the stuff that he's done, because Riku kind of went down a dark path in the very first game. So this whole story for him in Chain Ringers that I do like is basically a story of redemption. And now this is the room that Maleficent offered him while he was staying there. And he hates everything about it. He hates the person who he was back then. And he's just trying to escape from it. And the voice is like kind of telling him that. And I don't know about you guys, but I think it's time to cut. There we go. Key of Guidance. Here we go. Kind of like these cutting cues. It's actually kind of fun. And away he goes. Alright, so now we're in this is the main entrance hall of the castle. And Riku is now trying to find out where are the people from his memories, because the voice said that in these worlds he'd meet the people from his memories. Now, since Riku went down a dark path in the first game, he only can see people that are immersed in that same amount of darkness. So, as you can probably guess, the only people he's going to see in all these worlds he visits are going to be the villains, because that's who he interacted with. And that's what the voice is telling him. You know, he gave up everything and literally pretty much destroyed his home just to adventure into the outside world, and that's why the only people that he can see at this point are just beings of darkness. But again, this is all for his redemption, which is really good, and he's trying to, in the story, he's trying to get away from the darkness and try and get more towards the light, but then he kind of realizes that, you know, maybe he can use the darkness for good, and that's what I like about it. And we get the Key of Truth card, and I don't know about you guys, but I think it's time to cut. There we go. Key to Truth. There's a dog barking outside. Thank you very much. And just like with Sora's story, we will be fighting Dragon Maleficent again. And then just to say this, all the bosses that Riku will be fighting, except for a couple of two that are different to his story, are pretty much the same as Sora. So, we're in Hollow Bastion, we're going to fight Dragon Maleficent again. And then Maleficent is now explaining to Riku that because of the routes that he chose, he's only going to see people of darkness. And then Riku says, well, if that's going to be the case, I'm just going to take you guys out one by one. And that's what he does. And then again, just to reiterate, because I don't know if I said this in Sora's story, the people that he's talking to, like Maleficent, they're just illusions created by the cards. They're not actually the real people. So I want to stress that out, in case you guys didn't quite know that from the, I don't even think I mentioned it in Sora's story. I can't remember. And the reason why he turned to the darkness because his heart was weak and he wanted to become stronger, but now he realizes that was kind of a stupid move. And once again, we have Dragon Maleficent. The same type of spiel. She's going to use her moves, and if we get a green Mickey card, we can get that little platform and go up and attack her that way. But since this is like the first boss for Riku, her health is a lot less than it was in Sora's story, since it's the first world we're doing this. And another thing with Riku, when he's in this mode right now, Riku doesn't have any slights. It's just 3 attacks. Nothing really fancy. But once we get dark mode from him, then that's going to change. But we're almost getting to that, so let's observe the rest of this boss fight. And that is the end of Dragon Maleficent. Oh, and another difference between Sora and Riku. Riku can hold as many enemy cards as he wants. So all these boss cards, you have unlimited access to all of those cards, which that is actually pretty cool. I will give it that. But then again, with Riku's story, because of his dark mode that we're going to get soon, I don't really use the enemy cards. I may end up going back to Jafar because I realized how helpful that was back in Sora's story. Okay, so we've defeated Dragon Maleficent, and since the exiting room is right there, we're just going to hop to that and move on with his story. And I do like that sword. I do like the Solar. Like any Kingdom Hearts fan, like I love that sword. That's a really interesting and neat idea. Oh, and I've decided to just kind of, I think what I'm going to do is, because now that I'm recording this, I don't know where I'm going to put my face when I edit these. I may end up putting it near the player's health, or I might even I have to see what it's like, because I don't want to cut off the subtitles, because I know you guys will probably want to read that. So I still have to put it to the top corner, but it's like, do I either put it near my health or the boss's health? I mean, when you're watching the video, you guys will see what I do, but I'm just not sure how I want to do it, because I don't want to cut off the boss's health.
What do you mean?
But then again, I want you guys to see my health, so that way you can see if I am getting close enough to dying. I may just keep and do what I did with Sora's and just put it on like the top right, so that way you guys can still see everything. Because I don't want to cut out the subtitles, because, you know, if you guys are just watching this for like the game itself, I want you guys to see the subtitles. And I can't even turn those off anyway, so it doesn't matter.
You want to pull me back in, so you can.
So that right there is Ansem. He was the main villain, the final boss of the original game. And in the first game, he possessed Riku to do his bidding, and now apparently he's not destroyed. We didn't destroy him in the end of the last game, so now he's back haunting Riku to try and possess him again, and we gotta stop him. Plain and simple.
A weakling like you could even defeat Sora, and you had darkness on your side.
Now, in the original game for the Game Boy Advance, this would actually be a boss fight, like a small boss fight.
You need darkness.
But for the HD remake, it's actually just a tutorial. We're going to learn all about some hidden abilities that Riku can do throughout the game.
That's not gonna happen.
And I'll explain those in a second, as we're almost getting to there.
Only the darkness can offer to you all of the strength that you will need.
You're wrong.
Disney! Well, Mickey.
That voice. Your Majesty?
That's right. Remember, Riku, you're not alone. Listen close. The light will never give up on you.
Yeah, this is essentially what Riku's trying to stay away from the darkness and trying to gear towards more of the light. But he's going to slowly kind of discover that, you know,
Lose to darkness.
darkness is really strong. The darkness is strong, but he can use that for good.
You think that feeble little light can
And use
save
light.
you from the darkness that I command?
Alright, time for a little tutorial here. We're going to learn about some other abilities that Riku can do that are different from Sora's. The first thing he's going to teach us, and I do this really quick, it's called Rapid Break. If you break an enemy's card really, really fast, you'll get a little bit of boost power to your dark mode. So watch this really carefully. That was a Rapid Break, and if you noticed in the subtitles of that, it said plus 0.5. So that would be 5 points towards the dark mode that we're going to learn in a bit. The next thing we're going to learn is the duel system. If we play the same card number value as our opponent, we can enter this duel and use the amount of cards needed to use a special attack. And the good thing with Riku is that those attacks are very strong, and they can really turn the battle in your favor.
What? That all you got?
It seems to me that you are intent on resisting the darkness. All right, then see it for yourself.
And now Ansem is going to give us the first
This
set
is
of
a
world
code
cards that we will
crafted
use to
from your
travel.
memory. Advance through the world it creates, and soon you will understand. Chasing after light is not the way. It will not give you distance from the darkness. There is no running from the darkness.
Don't worry, I'm not running. Give it. I'll enter the world, and in the end...
And the really cool thing that I like
haven't
what this
given in to
series
the darkness.
series does is the chemistry between
Then I
Riku and Ansem that's like explored more in later games, how it's a really good rivalry and they do a really good job presenting it. And now what Ansem is doing right now is basically giving us the new mode we're going to learn called Dark Mode, which if you guys remember from the Sora story, that whole muscle skirt thing that Riku was wearing when we fought him as Sora, that's essentially what we just unlocked for Riku. We can enter that mode and use a whole bunch of wide variety of attacks.
To use it or not is your choice.
And in order to get it, you have to rapidly break as many opponents as possible to get that. And you guys will see that probably throughout the playthrough. Mostly probably for bosses. I don't know about for heartless enemies, but you'll see it nonetheless. D mode. There we go. And now we can... Okay, it was Traverse Town, okay. Those are the 4 war cards we have for the next couple episodes. And I think what I'm going to do is... Because of how I'm cutting everything, I think I'm going to do 2 worlds at a time. I think that will be the best thing I can do for Riku's story. And now, in this next cutscene, we have more organization members. We have Zexion with the gray-blue hair, and we have to the left of that, Alexius. So those are the other 2 organization members, the only other new ones that are in Castle Oblivion, along with Vexen, Larxene, Axel, and Marluxia.
I want an explanation.
Nice to see you too, Vexen. It's such a shame. The organization used to be the rope that bound us together.
You're only number 6. How dare you?
Let it go, Vexen. Zexion, tell us.
So now Zexion, because people who are using the power of darkness, they had this ability with a sense of smell where they can smell a particular odor of somebody else and know who it is. So they picked up that there was a copy of Maleficent somewhere in the castle, and that Riku is somewhere in the castle. They don't know it's him yet, but his scent matches their leader.
If you would let me finish. The scent belonged not to the real Maleficent, but to a very convincing double.
That we just
I
destroyed.
truly cannot say much beyond that, since the double is no more. Our other visitor saw to that.
And who is it?
I do not know for sure, but the scent was very similar to that of the superior.
And yet, not exactly the same, was it? This truly piques my curiosity.
Now, what to do?
We wait. See what develops.
Sounds like a good plan, Lexius. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, I currently have 2 more minutes until this episode ends, so I just want to say, first of all, another big thanks to everybody who enjoyed the Sora portion of Chain of Memories, and I hope you guys are looking forward to all the crazy stuff that is going to happen with Reverse/Rebirth with Riku. Again, I really don't have an uploading schedule. I just do these videos whenever I have time and when, I want to do them. But pretty much after I finish editing this one and probably uploading it, maybe, I'm going to start recording gameplay for the next couple episodes. So, yeah. So I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you in part 2 of Reverse/Rebirth. Have a good one, guys, and Mickey, you take it away.
Oh, what happened? I can see right through you.
Funny, huh? I can only send a bit of my power to this place. That's why I've got a request for you.
Request?
Listen, Riku. Just because darkness holds you, don't let go of who you are. You've got to fight the darkness inside you. It won't be easy to do, I know. But please don't forget, even in the darkest darkness, there's always a little bit of light.
Light within darkness.
You and I have seen it. The far welcoming light inside the door to darkness. The light of Kingdom Hearts. It will show you the way. Please don't give up. Believe in the light. That's a request from my heart.
Okay. I'll do my best.
Trust me, I'll try to find a way to reach you. I'll get there. I promise.
Oh. You're an illusion.
Don't worry. We shook hands in our hearts, remember? We're connected, you and me.
Guess we are.